Welcome to the AI Business News Desk. Terry Sweeney here, contributing editor with AI Business. And joining me now is Katarina Bulic Bestulic, an attorney at law, an AI governance strategist with the European Citizen Action Service. Katarina, thanks so much for joining us today on the News Desk.
Thank you, Terry, for having me here.
For viewers who aren't familiar with the piece of regulation, help us better understand what the European Union's AI Act is about, what it entails, and how it may differ from other regulatory frameworks.
Yeah. This is a really relevant question, especially as we are on the AI Summit. EU AI Act is the first world comprehensive regulation which regulates artificial intelligence. It has been put together from the EU Commission, then approved by the Parliament, and now it has entered in force, and it's entering in force in phases, as we will tackle later on. Why is it so important? It's important because it sets the standard on how we should regulate such a very fast-growing sector as it's the AI sector.
Sure. All right. As you said, it is taking effect in a series of phases. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and also what this is going to mean for U.S. companies who operate within the European Union?
Sure. The EU AI Act is, I would say, falsely looked at as an innovation killer. Well, yeah.
Like most regulation, right?
Like most regulations. But I challenge you all, if you want to. If not, you can trust me on my word. I read all the 113 articles of the EU AI Act, and there is nothing that bans innovation, that bans research, or that even regulates, like innovation and research aren't even regulated with the EU AI Act. What the EU AI Act regulates is that when somebody is deploying AI, that it is done in a way that it doesn't affect fundamental rights, human rights.
Privacy being one of those rights.
Absolutely. Not being manipulated, not being screened or in any way discriminated by a machine, of course. Those are high-risk systems. Also, being aware when you are communicating with a machine, when are you communicating with a human, which is transparency, of course.
So for U.S. companies that have had to adjust to, say, regulatory frameworks like GDPR,
yeah.
How well positioned are they then to basically conform to the EU AI Act as well?
In my opinion, the companies which are doing business legitimately, they are already adhering to all the requirements that are posed by the EU AI Act, but it is very relevant for US companies since you have a very good, how to say, how the companies, the environment for companies to grow, it's very good in the US. And of course, they're going to do business with the EU, where it's the 450 million people, market.
Sure.
So those companies should adhere to the EU AI Act because it's obligatory. If you do business with the EU customers, then it's obligatory that you adhere to those rules, which are really simple, which we can tackle later on.
Sure. But the EU AI Act, I think, is composed of 3 phases, right? Are we in the first or second phase?
There is like a phased rollout of the when the penalties come into force, to call it like this.
Right.
The first phase was in February 2025 when the high risk were banned. So there is no possibility of using any manipulating, any discriminate, or people screening and stuff like that, which would directly influence basic human rights. Then there is the second phase, which was this August 2025, when the huge Gen AI models should show how they get data. So now in this phase, for example, Claude, ChatGPT, and stuff like, and companies like that, Grok, so Gemini, you know them, Gen AI, like these big language models, they should document and they should be transparent about the data and about the processes. And then there is the third, where the high-risk systems, which is coming next year in August 2026, when the high risk should be documented and it should be also transparent. So AI systems which use high risk, which are declared as high risk, should be documented and transparent as well.
Shifting gears slightly, I'm curious if you can maybe call out some of the common mistakes that you see U.S. companies making as regards the EU AI compliance.
Yeah. Well, the US companies, of course, like what is the essence of a company is to do business, to do profit, right? And the EU AI Act, in my opinion, is falsely seen as this innovation killer, as this burden, whereas it is really not. If it's like adhered to, or if it's like looked into, it can actually help you how to structure your own governance at the company, itself, because it requires this documentation. It requires that transparency, and it requires that everything can be in a way trackable. So that there is this AI governance system in place for the company, which works very well for the company itself. So ignoring the regulation, first thing. Second thing, thinking it's very bad, which is not. Like if you like give it a chance.
Right.
And third thing, thinking, oh, first we need clarity, and then we're going to do that. So the AI risk assessment should be put in the enterprise risk assessment like now. It should be part of it.
This all tracks, though, with a common sort of arc of new regulations, right?
Yeah, which are coming in the US as well.
Chafe against
Yeah.
it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they are like, in law. We should always start with why. Why do people regulate? Because there is a higher good which should be protected. So, of course, it's important that we do business. Of course, it's important profit. But there are like some fundamental human rights which are really even above profit.
Of course. AI, of course, as a technology, is a moving target. How do you see regulation evolving alongside it? Where can you see some potential protections that are going to be needed going forward?
I think that AI should be put into frameworks. Innovation should not be stopped. Profit should not be stopped, should be encouraged. But regulation and governance is actually helping the more stable growth. So I see regulation which goes hand in hand with innovation and with progress. Yes.
Well, thanks for that. So appreciate the European perspective, the Croatian perspective, in fact, on the EU AI Act. And thank you so much for joining us on News Desk today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope that I gave some clarity.
Indeed, you did. We've been talking with Katarina Bulic Bestulic, an attorney from the European Union. Thank you so much for joining us for this News Desk segment. I'm Terry Sweeney with AI Business. We'll see you next time.